This is going to be a short speech, basically because A, the children are restless, waiting for their turn to come up on stage in the wings. B, speeches are always very boring. C, we should get on with the show, what we've already all come to see, our children on stage. So I'm going to share my thoughts as briefly and succinctly as possible on what, and also as children go to elementary, primary and junior school. You ask 10 different people and they will say 10 different things about what they want or what they're looking for when they select a school. They will say things from building confidence to good in studies. They will say making my child an all-rounder to things like being good in English. And despite strong social messages that films like, Three Idiots, etc. Have been giving out, at least 8 in 10 parents will say that they want their child to be an engineer. So before you know it, at the age of 3 or 4 years, children are set off for an after-school tuition with a big bag on their back, undergoing another 3 or 4 hours of intense grueling, undergoing a completely parallel system of schooling in tuition centers, and being retaught what is already being taught in school. So then what then is actually the role of an early years program? What should be the driving philosophy? What should parents look for when they select a school? And schools also look for parents so that they join with like-minded people in bringing the child up. I'm going to dip into the work of a psychologist who's known as the Russian Mozart of psychology. His name is Lev Vygotsky, and I'm just going to share with you some of what he expounds on what learning should be. If you ask again, if I throw this question to the audience, what do you think a child should learn in school? What should he pick up? Why do we send our children to school? Most of us, and if you ask me when I was putting my children in school, I would also say the same thing. I would like my child to acquire some knowledge, learn some new things, and probably, more importantly, develop and acquire skills. But surprisingly, I will take you just through 3 points of what Vygotsky said. Skills and knowledge is not the core of learning, because skills and knowledge actually change from place to place. For example, a child born and brought up in the Kalahari Desert will have a completely different body of knowledge and will require a completely different skill set to survive, as against a child perhaps born in Gurgaon or London for that matter. So if it's not knowledge and if it's not skills, then what is it? The first thing Vygotsky talks about is, basically he talks about what is known as a higher mental function, as distinguished from a lower mental function. A higher mental function is something which is just unique to humans, as against the lower mental functions, which are functions and abilities that humans are born with, but they also share with other animals. Okay, so what are these higher mental functions that we're looking at? Number one, focused attention. To be able to focus, to be able to concentrate, to be able... But if you have in a child a higher mental function of focused attention, then the child can concentrate, stay on. Another one, which is also a higher mental ability, is deliberate memory, as against associative memory. Deliberate memory is when you can actually make sense of things. You can construct meaning. You can construct meaning for your own self. As against the associative, an example would be more things like, the use of phonetics. A can mean millions of things. It can mean apple, it could be anteater, it could be alligator. So if you put just the sound, can the child come up and construct meaning of what that sound means and what it relates to? Motor thought, which is a lower mental function. Sensory motor would be if a child touches something hot, he knows it's hot. However, in the symbolic thought, which is the higher mental one, an image of a pressure cooker or a picture of a fire or steam coming out of a cup of coffee. Find it and where to put it. So be able to provide our children as parents and as teachers of this school, these kind of opportunities is what is going to make them a cut above the rest. Thank you, Rajni ma'am. The school is 3 years old. I'm told this is the first time we're having